friends, and welcome back to our homestead. Today I'm going to be making something very special and very nostalgic for me, because every Easter season my mama made this for us, and it was a very special occasion, and it was only baked at Easter time. Maybe because some of the ingredients were difficult to come by in the Soviet time, or maybe because it was just so time consuming and difficult to bake. So mama made it for Easter for us, and that's exactly what I'm going to do for my family for this Easter as well. So today I'm going to be making a very special dessert. It's called, I don't know how to call it, but it's going to be a poppy seed roll. In my language, it's going to be a roulette s makом, or I guess that's what we're going to call it. So poppy seeds, you can buy them dried like this, okay? They're going to be coming in a package dried, and I'm going to be showing you how to use them today dried. Or if you want to omit that filling as far as making it from dry, you can go ahead and buy something that's already in a can ready for you to be used. And it's a poppy seed cake and pastry filling. You can buy this online. It's very easy to use because all the headache of making a filling is already here. But I'm going to be making it from scratch using organic dried poppy seeds that I have here, and I'm going to be showing you how to make that filling. So this is yeast dough, and yeast dough likes warmth, likes time to develop, and that's what we're gonna start doing. So I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna start with a starter. I'm gonna make the dough, I'm gonna let it rise, and while it's rising, I'm gonna be making the filling. So let's start making it. It's so exciting and so delicious. I'm not kidding. Soft, billowy, so good, childhood. All right, we're gonna start by making a starter. So here I have a cup of warm milk, and I like to use warm milk. It's whole milk because yeast likes warmth. And I'm gonna start by adding 1 tablespoon of dried yeast, okay? And to that, I'm also gonna add a hefty tablespoon of sugar, all right? And also I'm gonna be adding 2 or 3 tablespoons, probably 3 tablespoons of flour, okay? And what I'm gonna be doing, I'm just gonna be stirring it all up together, and that is gonna be the starter. I'm gonna let this sit and develop, and this is a good time to test your yeast, making sure that it's actually active, and it's gonna bubble up and rise up like a little fluffy hat. If that does not happen in the next 5-10 minutes, that means the yeast is no good. Go to the store and get some new yeast. So this is just, you know, something for the yeast to eat. So a little bit of sugar, a little bit of flour, let it sit. Okay, I'm gonna put it aside, and my kitchen is nice and warm. It doesn't like any drafts, it doesn't like any cold. So let it sit and do its thing, okay? That's all it's gonna do, just gonna sit and relax. In the meantime, in this mixing bowl, I'm going to be using a mixer today, but you can do this by hand as well. I'm going to start making the dough. And what I need to do is I'm going to add an egg and a half, meaning that I'm going to put a whole egg in here, okay? A whole egg, and only an egg white. Only egg white, saving an egg yolk for later, because this poppy seed roll is going to have beautiful rich color on top, and that is going to be used for the top of the roll. But in the meantime, all I need is just an egg and a half, and to that I'm going to be adding 1/2 cup of sugar. I have plain white sugar, and I'm just going to mix that together. Also, I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla, because why not? Vanilla is good. And I'm going to be putting a very generous teaspoon of vanilla. All baking require a little bit of salt, and I have about 1/2 teaspoon of salt in here as well. All right, so now I'm going to be putting it in the stand-up mixer, and I'm going to be mixing it all together. In the meantime, I'm going to get the flour ready as well. So I'm just going to measure out 4 cups of flour. 4 cups of flour, and I'm going to reserve 1/2 cup for later. You know why? Because every flour is different. Every flour is different, and sometimes you know, it could be a moist day or something, and it will take more flour, and even the quality of flour is different. I like to use unbleached all-purpose flour. All right, so 2 cups in here. I'll add 2 more. And like I said, and I'm gonna reserve a 1/2 cup. So maybe it will go total of 4.5. I really have to look and see how the dough will come out. So this is why I always laugh when people are so concrete on the amount of flour it's gonna take, because in my experience, every time when I bake, it takes slightly different amount of flour. Okay, so this is all ready. I'm gonna push this flour aside. I'm gonna save it for later. All right, so a few minutes passed, and check this out. Do you see that? Do you see that little hat on top? Guess what? That means my yeast is nice and active, and I'm gonna be adding it to the egg mixture. Okay, so mix it all together, and now I'm gonna be adding flour, and I'm gonna add it in sections. I'm not gonna put it all together. I'm gonna add a little bit at a time, okay? So this will be nice and soft dough. All of the ingredients I will leave in the description. So it'll be easy for you guys to go down at the description box and just take a look at all of the ingredients that I used today. All right, so 4 cups are in. Okay, so now at this point, I can definitely tell that this is not as, it's still very sticky to my hands, and the dough is not ready anyway. So now I'm gonna be adding butter, and I have 6 tablespoons of butter here, and I'm gonna be adding it 1 tablespoon at a time. Okay, slowly. I'm gonna be adding it in portions, okay? Not all at once. And if this is done by hand on a table, same thing, 1 tablespoon at a time, not all at once. And I'm not gonna add it until this tablespoon is completely incorporated. All right, I'm gonna be dropping more. Okay, I'm adding, I have 1 more tablespoon of butter left here, so I'm gonna put it aside for now. Let it just this all incorporate. The butter should be nice and soft, not melted, just soft, so it's easily pliable and can be added into the dough. Okay, let's take a look at this dough. I think I'm gonna take it out and finish working with that on its surface on the table. Okay. It's still very, very sticky to my hand, so I'm not surprised if I have to add more flour. All right. So I'm just stretching it and pushing it. I'm definitely going to add more flour. So I will see if I'm gonna end up using that whole 1/2 cup or not. Oh, this is smelling so good. Very aromatic dough. All right, so this is very simple though. There's nothing to it. Do you see how I'm stretching it? So definitely I'm gonna throw in that other piece of butter in here. And I'm just gonna keep mixing it like this. So it's not a lot of butter, only 6 tablespoons. Okay. I'm gonna, do you see how it's still super, oh, where'd you go? Come back here. Super soft dough, but it's not sticking to my hands anymore. So that's how much I still have left over. That's how much I still have left over my flour in here. It's a little sticking to the bottom here, so I'm just gonna add, and I'm gonna keep stretching it, working it, so it will be nice and elastic dough for poppy seed roll. The other day I was at a Polish market in my neighborhood, and they had poppy seed rolls for sale, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I remembered my childhood, and I said, that's it, I'm gonna make it this year for Easter. All right, so this is all incorporated. I'm just gonna mix it for another minute. So again, nothing sticks to the table anymore, nothing sticks to my hands, but it's super, super soft. Can you see that, guys? Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So again, stretching it a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna be putting it in the mixing bowl, okay, where it will have a chance to rise. And it should go somewhere in a warm place where it's not gonna be disturbed, and it's gonna do its own thing, okay? So if you have a place near a wood stove or a heat, like somewhere, but where it's not gonna cook it, or you can just put it in the oven with the light turned on. That's it, it's gonna be sufficient enough. All right, done, 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 done. Beautiful. So I'm just gonna take this bowl that I had here. I'll take a little bit of butter, and I'm just gonna spread it on the sides everywhere, okay? So it will, my dough will not stick anywhere. All right? And it's gonna go in here. And I'm just gonna cover that either with a moist towel or plastic, so it stays nice and warm and it doesn't dry up. And it's gonna rise for about an hour. While the dough is rising, and it needs about an hour to double in size, I need to start working on the filling. And the filling is gonna be from scratch. And if you wanna omit making it from scratch and buy already a pre-made one, go for it. It tastes fine, but it's not homemade. Homemade is from scratch. So I'm gonna start by getting my ingredients ready. So I have dried poppy seeds, and I need 1 cup of poppy seed here. So let me just measure out what should be about a cup here, because it's a quarter of a cup here. All right, so about a cup of poppy seed, okay? And this is optional, but I'm going to add some raisins, and I have about a half a cup of raisins. They all stuck together. So I'm just gonna add them in here as well, okay? I'm just gonna break them up a little bit. Also, I'm gonna be adding a quarter of a cup of sugar to here, and quarter of a cup of honey. If you don't have honey, then you're gonna need half a cup of sugar. But because I have honey, I'm gonna be adding a quarter of a cup of honey. And I am literally guesstimating what quarter of a cup it's gonna be. That's about right. All right, so it's gonna go here. Also, I'm gonna be putting a little bit of vanilla, because why not? It's gonna taste very good with vanilla. And now, let me just stir this up together. I'm gonna need to cook it with a little bit of milk. You can be done with water, but I'm gonna do with a little bit of milk. So everything becomes nice and soft, and I'm gonna put it on the stove to start cooking it slowly, so everything becomes nice and moist and fluffy. And the raisins reabsorb some of the liquid, and the poppy seeds become nice and fluffy, and they reabsorb the liquid. Adding about a half a cup of milk in here as well to help to get everything nice and soft. All right, so I'm gonna go and start cooking this slowly. How long to cook it? I want for most of this liquid to be reabsorbed. So it usually takes about half an hour. It's gonna come to a boil. I'm gonna turn down the heat and let this cook. I can even cover this so it cooks for about half an hour so everything becomes nice and soft. Most of this liquid actually will disappear. Okay, so this has been cooking for about half an hour. Most of the liquid is absorbed or evaporated, but this mass needs to be made even softer than it is now. So I'm going to shake off some of this. I'm going to be using this immersion blender to pulverize everything and make everything much, much softer. I remember Mama used to put it through a meat grinder just to make all these poppy seeds nice and soft. Okay, the dough has doubled in size. It's been a little bit over an hour. And now I'm just gonna take it out onto the surface. It's nice and soft and fluffy. And what I'm going to do now is I'm gonna do like a quick kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't describe it to you guys. I'm just gonna fold it kind of like, and I'm gonna let it rest again for another 15 minutes, and I will tell you guys why. See, if I try to roll this out now, it's not gonna be very cooperative. It's just, that's what dough does, okay? But this is like, after the first rise, I kind of like knock down all that puffiness in there very gently, and I'm gonna cover it up and I'm gonna let it rest for another 15 minutes. Not long, 15 minutes. In the meantime, I'm gonna turn the oven on and preheat it to 350 degrees, okay? If you're doing Celsius, it's about 180 Celsius. So let this bad boy sit and rest for about 15 minutes. In the meantime, I need to get my rolling pin out, get that ready. And I need to get ready what I'm gonna be, I keep forgetting that term. What is it called when you put like egg wash? Egg wash, that's the term. I'm gonna put a little egg wash on top. And so this is that egg yolk that I had left over. Just to that, I'm gonna add a splash of milk. Not much, I don't know, maybe a couple tablespoons. Nothing to write home about, nothing big, okay? So I'm just gonna mix them together, make into egg wash, and have that sit on the side and be ready for me to be used, okay, when the dough is ready, okay? So everything is ready. I've got myself dough resting. I've got the filling nice and ready, and it already cooled down. And look how nice and pasty it is, just the way we want it. So some of you may ask me, hey, didn't you put raisins in there? Yes, raisins are also pulverized together with poppy seeds, and it's gonna be nice and soft spread that's gonna go into my roll. It's gonna be soft, it's gonna be pillowy, it's gonna be delicious, sweet, and oh my gosh, so delicious. So let's just wait for a few more minutes. Okay, let's look at this dough now and roll it out. All right, it rested. It's gonna be good and pliable dough. Oh my goodness, it's so soft. It's so nice. Okay, so now I need to roll this out. I'm gonna make one big roll, but you guys, if you want to make small ones, you can divide this dough in half and roll it out into pieces. What I am striving for is for thin roll that's gonna be a square shape. I'm gonna attempt to make a square out of it the best I can, and thin. And the reason why I like to be thin, because I wanna be able to roll out and put filling as much as I can, okay? As much as I can all around. So it will have lots and lots of delicious filling everywhere. So the dough is good, don't get me wrong, but I want lots of filling in here. So I'm gonna try to roll this out in about, I don't know, maybe 1/4 inch thickness. I'm gonna try to make a square out of it the best I can. All right, it's still kind of thick, but it's very pliable, it's very forgiving dough. All right, almost there, almost there. the oven is already preheated to 350 degrees. All right. It's not exactly a square, I'll be honest. It's more like of a big round thing, but you know what? It's okay. Let me roll this dough more this way to make it more of a square. All right, this is as square as it's gonna be. Alrighty. All right. Might be a little bit more here. Okay, that's good. All right, so if you like to add more butter, this is gonna be the time to add more butter. But I put my butter into the filling, so I'm not gonna be putting any more. But I remember Mama actually spreading soft butter right here on top. That's what I remember. Anyway, so here's my fill. I'm gonna be putting this all here and spreading it evenly throughout the entire roll. This spatula is way too soft. I can't grab everything. Let me grab a different spatula. This one will work better, I think. Okay. So I'm gonna be spreading it everywhere evenly, okay? So each piece will have filling everywhere, okay? All right, so it's spread evenly, everywhere evenly, and now I'm just gonna start rolling it up. Okay, I'm just gonna start rolling it. Roll, 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 and see how nicely it doesn't stick to the table because it has so much butter. Roll, 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 and I'm just gonna roll back everything and make sure everything is attached nicely here. Okay. Let me make sure everything is attached. I'm just gonna pinch it all. And it's gonna be at the bottom, so you're not gonna see it. Okay. And guess what? The roll is done. It's one big, long roll. So what I have here is I got a baking sheet ready. I'm just gonna put parchment paper on it. And I'm gonna put it across because it's so big, okay? And I'm gonna throw a little plastic over again, and I'm gonna let it rest for another 15 to 20 minutes before I put it in the oven, because it's gonna give another chance to rise a little bit more before I put it in the oven. Okay, so this rested about 10-15 minutes. I'm gonna do a little egg wash on top to give that nice color, and it's gonna go into the oven. So the oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and every oven bakes differently, honestly. So you gotta check it after about 40 minutes and see how it is, because you wanna do it with a toothpick. It has to come out completely nice and dry, okay? Because if it's not dry and you take it out too soon, guess what? It's gonna be all fluffy, and then it will go ploop and it will all go flat. And you're gonna have a flat roll. We don't want that. All right, so everything is nicely painted with egg wash. It's gonna go in the oven now. All right, girly. I want you to come out nice and delicious. I really should have cut that in half, honestly. It's way too big for my oven. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Look at all these beautiful layers. Look at all these beautiful layers. So next time my rolls are gonna be smaller. I'm gonna actually, out of that portion, I'm gonna make 2 rolls. I think they're gonna be perfect size. This was a bit too long. It's got so big, it blew up so big, it actually split on a side. But you know what though, that happens. It's maybe because I rolled it up too tight, I'm not sure. I didn't think I was tight, but look how beautiful this roll is. It has beautiful chocolate color on top, and it has beautiful layers, and it's nice and soft and pillowy. It's absolutely exactly how Mama used to make. So friends, I hope you make some delicious nostalgic recipes for Easter for your family as well. In my case, I'm gonna be making some poppy seed rolls. So anyway, friends, I hope you are encouraged and try something new.